Hello and welcome back to another video. I am so glad that you're here. On this channel, I talk about news, controversies, and drama on the bookish side of the internet, and I certainly hope you will stick around. Okay, so listen. I don't know if I even really have enough to do an update video on Christina Kaye, but every so often I like to check in on her and see if she's still up to her same old scamming. And the answer is always yes. You may have seen that I recently posted screenshots of a post of hers where she's acting just as insane as ever. And if you didn't, I'm going to post it here again. But first, if you have not watched my other videos discussing this woman, I really highly recommend you do that first. So I will link them down below. I will put a little thing up here. So here is the post she made a couple days ago. The image says 70% off author coaching. Get expert guidance through your successful book launch at a drastically reduced rate backed by a money-back guarantee. And the caption says, Indie authors, I need your help. I need to sign at least one coaching or editing client tonight, and whoever takes me up on this author in this post will get my experienced and skilled help at a fraction of my already affordable rates. I help indie authors grow at their reader fan bases without paying for marketing, build hype around their book launches, and successfully self-publish. And to date, I've helped hundreds of them become best-selling authors and career authors, many of whom now make $30K, $40K, $50K a year in book sales. A lot of people assume I make tons of money, but I don't. Who assumed that? That's because when I launched my full-time coaching business in January of 2020, I intentionally set my coaching fees, editing rates, and even my digital resources at reasonable prices so more indie authors can afford expert help realizing their dreams. It's more important to me to help as many of my fellow indie authors as possible than it is to make tons of money. But I stick to a budget like everyone else, so when someone doesn't pay their invoice on time, or at all, it can really throw me for a major loop. 2 weeks ago, I had 2 clients ghost me right when their invoice payments were due, and I lost over $7K because of this. I have until close of business Monday, July 21st to pay my rent. And that's why I need to sign a client immediately. I won't accept charity, handouts, or loans, never have, never will. What I am willing to do is drastically reduce my fees for any author who accepts this offer today. If you need an editor, I'm willing to take 50% off my fee for all types of editing combined, content, line, proofread. I've never once asked for anything in exchange for the tons of free helpful content I post daily, but I'm out of options. So, this is kind of par for the course. She's just, switching between being so successful and she only has space for one more client. And then, oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. And if I do, it's all your fault for not hiring me. So, one of the best resources I used when I was making my first video on Christina was an article written on the Writers Beware website by Victoria Strauss. And I will link that down below as well. And it's funny because I went to go do research for this video, see what else was there, and there was a new comment posted just a couple of days ago. So let's read that. Kylie says, I have some things to share with everyone regarding Christina. I met her on TikTok. We talked a bit and I reached out for a quote. Her original quote was 3,000. I passed. She does not like when you pass on her services. Let me tell you, after I declined, she messaged me via TikTok and email several times a day. She then took down the price to $1,500. She then proceeded to guilt trip me. I wish I could share screenshots. I will copy and paste the last 2 messages from her. I wish I had any way to get in touch with this Kylie because I would love to see those, but I believe her. Kylie, I'm not sure what's going on. Is everything okay? Yesterday I offered you my entire coaching program for only $1,500 and you responded thanking me for the offer, but not telling me if you accept or not. And since then, I've not heard from you at all here or on TikTok. I know you're handling a lot, but I think it's only fair that I tell you why I'm willing to offer such a low rate, aside from sincerely wanting to help you get the guidance you need and why I do need to know ASAP what you decided. You don't need to. That's not a thing that's like, it's only fair. No, you don't need to tell a client this, a potential client. It's not their business. It's a long story, and I won't bore you with the details. And yes, she does. But almost 2 weeks ago, right when I was about to pay my rent and payroll and other important bills, I found out that 2 clients, who were best friends as it turned out, backed out of their agreements with me and stopped paying their invoices. In the long run, I'm out over 8K, but even losing their second invoices, which is what I planned to use to pay bills, sent me back almost 2K. Then a third client heard what happened, and since she was new, it somehow scared her and made her doubt my ability to help her. Somehow, what two people did to me negated all my 20 years of experience, as well as the hundreds of authors I've helped succeed in this industry. And then she backed out, costing another 3K. This sounds like a you problem, Christina. This doesn't seem like something Kylie needs to know in order to make her decision on whether or not she wants to work with you. My landlord was gracious enough to give me until tomorrow at the end of the day to pay my July rent. And I had all the money lined up. But then Friday, one of those clients who backed out also filed a dispute to get her $1,200 payment back. And the payment processor took the money out of my account with zero notice and only told me why after the fact. This is why I'm trying to get an answer from you. This could help us both. You get coaching worth well over 5K for only $1,500 and still get to keep a lot of your savings intact, and I get to pay my rent and not be evicted. I've been doing this full time since January 2020, and since then, I've never ever been late on any payments, let alone rent, and I have no options to pay it other than signing a client. You're literally my current and only hope. I'm sorry if this gives you a bad impression of me, but I wanted to be honest and upfront with you. I do have more client payments coming later this month, but it won't come in time to pay what I owe by close of business tomorrow. I don't want and won't accept charity handouts or even loans. I want to work for the money I earn, period. And $1,500 is a drastic reduction of my fee, but it's all I need to get back on track and recover from the unexpected blow from a couple weeks ago. I'm willing to do that for you. Oh, she's so generous. But I need to know if you accept my offer or not, one way or another. If you have decided not to accept my offer, please at least tell me so I know if I need to stay up all night trying to find a client. But if you do accept my offer, we can begin working on your project and towards your successful book launch as early as tomorrow. It takes only 20 minutes to get you set up as a client, and I won't make you wait for your first call. We can do it as soon as Tuesday. Please do let me know something. I'd love to work with you either way, but you truly are my only hope right now to cover this gaping hole in my budget and save my business so I can continue doing what I love best, which is help indie authors like you realize their dreams. Christina. I hate so much of that, but let's continue. My response: her messages went to my spam folder even after many interactions. Christina, hi, OMG, I was not seeing any of your messages. They keep going to my spam folder. Ugh. I'm so sorry for all you're going through. Under different circumstances, I would be able to hire you to help me. I'm in a tight place myself. I'm heartbroken. I hope you are able to find some good quality clients and everything works out for you. Kylie. A very nice professional response. Her response: that is not at all the impression you left me with before I went 2 days wondering what was going on. No, I didn't find a client, and now I'm being evicted. Thanks for your concern. As you can see, I said no politely, and she was cold. Then she blocked me on TikTok. So childish. I had already said no, and I had read many experiences here and seen TikToks on how she operates as well. She needs to be stopped. I wanted to share this experience on my TikTok, but I'm refraining due to negative impact this may have on my account due to the negativity being shared. Her behavior is gross. I am sorry for anyone that paid for her services. This is not acceptable. Kylie, if you're watching this video, please post it on TikTok. I promise TikTok will be on your side. Nobody likes this woman. So literally, how is this woman real? This is easily one of the most unprofessional things that I've ever seen. And believe it or not, it just gets worse. Now, I do want to just quickly interject. I am not like a cruel person who wants to see anyone be evicted and be experiencing this kind of hardship, but I do tend to believe that you get what you give and what goes around comes around and all of that. So while I certainly won't say that I'm happy she's struggling, all I'll say is that she brought this on herself. And, if you aren't a scammer, people will trust you. If people trust you, you'll sign new clients. And if you sign new clients, you can pay your bills. What a concept. All right, on to more of the same stuff.
Indie authors, I need your help. So please give me just 2 or so minutes of your time and watch this video all the way through. I promise if you watch this all the way through, I'm gonna make it every bit worth your time. Here's the deal. I need to sign at least one coaching or editing client tonight. And whoever takes me up on this offer that I'm sharing in this video is going to get my experienced and skilled help successfully launching their book or editing at a fraction of my already affordable rates. If you're seeing this post and my content for the first time, hi, sorry we're meeting this way. I'm Christina, and I've been an indie author coach, self-publishing mentor, and professional book editor for nearly 20 years now. I help indie authors grow their reader fan bases without paying for marketing, build hype around their book launches, and successfully self-publish. And to date, I've helped hundreds of indie authors become bestsellers, career authors, many of whom are making 30, 40, 50,000 a year. Some are even six-figure earners now. Don't get it twisted. A lot of people assume that because I've been doing this so long that I make tons of money. I don't. That's because when I first launched my full-time coaching career about 5.5 years ago, I made it a point to make sure that my fees, my editing rates, even my digital templates, tutorials, all of that are set at reasonable prices so that more indie authors can afford the help that they need to realize their dreams. It's more important to me to help as many of my fellow indie authors as I possibly can than it is to make tons of money. And look, I rely on a budget like everyone else does. Only mine is based on when clients have promised in their agreements to pay their invoices, because I always accept manageable payment plans too to help out. So when someone doesn't pay their invoice on time or at all, it can really throw a major wrench in my budget and my plans. 2 weeks ago, I had not one, but two clients ghost me right when it was time to make their second invoice payments that were due, when they were due. Turns out they were best friends, so they backed each other up in their buyer's remorse or whatever. This happened literally moments before I went to pay my personal bills, my rent, insurance, other bills. In the long term, I've lost over $7,000 between those two clients. And in the short term, right when I needed it the most, I lost over $1,200. And for the first time in many years, ever since I've been a coach, I was unable to pay my own bills. Now I have until close of business, Monday, July 21st, to pay my rent and some other bills, or let's just say really bad things are gonna happen and there will be no more of this. That is why I need to sign at least one client immediately. I won't accept charity. That's why you don't see my Cash App or my Venmo listed here. Handouts, loans, nothing. Never have, never will. I bootstrapped this business from nothing to where it is today. What I am willing to do is drastically reduce my prices for at least one author, whoever is willing to help me out when I need it most. And that includes unlimited support through chats, through video, as well as all my digital templates, tutorials, and resources for only $1,500. Why that specific price? Because that's what I need to cover my bills and get caught up. I don't want $1 more than that. So if you would like help successfully launching your book by as early as Halloween, even if you haven't started writing yet, a fraction of my standard fee, then reach out to me immediately in the DMs and let's set up a quick call for tonight or tomorrow. Look, I've been providing tons of free helpful tips and strategies and advice on this platform specifically, gosh, for almost 6 years now. And I've never once asked for a single thing in return. But I'm out of options and I have nowhere else to turn. And I don't want a loan. I don't want charity. I don't want handouts. I want to work for the help that I get. So let me help you. And in exchange, you can help me keep doing what I love most and have invested nearly 20 years in doing, which is helping my fellow indie authors realize their dreams and successfully launch their books and their careers. And if you specifically are not quite ready or able to help, even with the drastically reduced prices that I'm offering, please tag as many friends as you can think of in the comments who might be interested in this offer.
So, pretty much what I just read you, but in video form. I don't think it's ever, okay to comment on someone's appearance, but I need her to wipe the lipstick off her chin before she films a video because that is something she can control and it's annoying. So, yeah, the manipulation tactics are just off the charts. It's no one's problem but hers that she can't pay her bills. And, maybe she needs to go get a part time job. A lot of us are struggling right now. You don't see everyone out here guilting people into doing stuff. You don't see me guilting and pressuring you all into signing up for my Patreon or watch my videos on repeat so I get ad revenue, because that's psycho behavior and that's not what people do. So here's another video posted in the same week. I can't play the music because of copyright, but it's the song Call on Me. And the caption, which this was posted about 2 weeks prior to the other stuff, the videos and all of that. So the caption says, I had not one, but 2 clients stiff me on invoices and breach our agreements this past weekend. And yes, for those of you paying attention, it's the first of the month, meaning all my bills and invoices were due. I've not had anything like this happen in a few years, let alone 2 clients back to back. I get it, this is a commitment and it can be scary. But that's why I never pressure or push anyone into making a decision to work with me. She's never done that, ever. Hell, I don't even let anyone answer me if I invite you during a free consultation to be my newest client. Is she okay? Does she... Like anyone else, I have a budget and bills and people who expect me to pay them. So when I get stood up for 2 client invoices with 0 advance notice, it leaves me scrambling like I am today to fill the gaps. But here's how I'll make it worth your time and energy. If you book a free strategy session with me now, one of 3 ways, I'll give the 2 indie authors who fill these now vacant slots 20% off my already affordable coaching fee. And that's before we break it into payments that you can afford. Oh, and I also offer a full money-back guarantee on my entire coaching fee. Tell you more about that on the call. If you want to be considered for one of these 2 slots, here are 3 ways you can apply. Comment below with "Call on me," DM me with the words "Call on me," or hit the link in my bio now and book that way. If I've ever helped you in any way, please at least share this video, engage with it, and help it show up on Author Talk, even if you're not interested in one of these 2 slots. Thanks, and much love as always. Maybe I should share it. Well, maybe that's what I'm doing right now. Because, she's helped me in that she's helped me spread the word about her. So again, I know that, posting the same shit over and over is kind of her MO, but this same exact story posted so many times almost makes me believe there might be a kernel of truth to it. But I sure am glad those authors cut their losses if it is true, because I promise that they were not the ones being in the wrong there. Now, if you don't remember, I previously talked about Christina discussing about how she doesn't think that beta readers are valuable.
Okay, so fair question also. You're not the only one who picked up on that and was like, what the first thing I want to tell you about no beta readers is that is my personal and professional opinion and how I recommend that my clients do things. I'm not saying beta readers are bad, evil, against the rules. I'm not saying that. After nearly 20 years in this industry, countless successful indie author clients, 8 successful books in my own right, I kind of know a thing or 3, and I've learned that the beta reader process is just a waste of time. I get it. We want feedback. By the time you send your book to beta readers, your book is already finished. Your manuscript is finished, even if it's in rough form. So when you get these, sorry, but unprofessional and just lay opinions about your book from a handful of beta readers, what are you going to do? Rewrite the story at that point? If you're doing self-publishing correctly and you do want to succeed, you know you must hire a professional book editor, and you can't bypass that step. And the professional editor is going to give you qualified, skilled, trained, experienced feedback on your manuscript, on the story, not just the writing. A really good editor will provide you with plenty of content, developmental, character, voice, flow, all of that. So why take the weeks and weeks and weeks out of that entire process to get lay opinions from people who are just readers and may or may not be your target audience? It doesn't hurt you, but it also really doesn't help you. If you want to be successful and you want to have a career as an indie author, while your first book can take months, a year, years, that's part of the normal process. There's a huge learning curve. However, we cannot keep that pace up. Studies have proven that successful indie authors have published at least 5 or 6 books before they hit 6 figures. And also, they're putting out minimum 2 to 4 books a year. Readers will not wait for George R.R. Martin much longer, right? They've already waited 10, 12 years. We have to put out 2 to 4 books a year after the first book. And if we bog down the process of writing, editing, revising, getting a cover, getting it edited, getting it formatted, all of that, and then add several more weeks worth of really not helpful beta reader process, it's just something that is not going to serve you in the long run. And that is why I say don't bother with beta readers.
So there's a lot to unpack here. There is just so much wrong with what she's saying. And honestly, I kind of feel like I could be an author coach because my advice would be much better than this. So she seems to think that professional opinions are the only ones that matter. Except the story isn't being written for them. Beta readers are a sampling of her audience and are going to be able to give her valuable feedback as a layperson, which is the point. No one is saying to use betas instead of a professional editor. She says that it's important because your beta readers might not even be your target audience. What? Why would an author have someone beta read for them that isn't their target audience? Am I missing something? I feel like she is the one who doesn't understand the purpose of them. And she also mentioned something about how by the time your beta readers get your book, like the manuscript is finished. So like, oh, are you going to go back and change whole plot points? Yes, that is exactly what you would do. You also give your fully written manuscript to an editor. So how would the process be different besides one being a professional and the others being lay people / the audience you're trying to get? There were 2 comments on this video, and one was from her, but the other one says, beta readers is a public opinion. It also helps because say you have 10 and they all have the same concerns with the book. You're getting an opinion from the readers themselves. It's not all bad, and the cost of a professional editor is sometimes not even an option. Like many of these writers can barely afford to put food on their table, let alone spend for an editor. And she says, my professional advice is exactly the same. So that's cool. So next we have a TikTok she did a few months ago with someone is kind of calling her out because all she did was reply to a TikTok live that Christina had. So this is what this person posted on their TikTok. POV, you jump into an author coach's live and hear her say that in order for you to be successful, you need to stick to one genre and follow the word count for that genre. So you ask her to clarify if she means we need to stick ourselves in a box in order to be successful. And then she goes off about how you're putting words in her mouth during the live. I didn't accuse, I asked a question. And so she ended up messaging this author, H.E. Gober, and says, sorry I was hard on you, but I didn't want you or anyone else misunderstanding my advice. And she replied, you didn't hurt my feelings by any means, but maybe you should give better advice because that is exactly what it sounded like you were saying. To new authors, that's extremely discouraging and turns people away from pursuing it. There are more ways to be successful as an author than purely monetary. For example, doing something you love and by finding escapism in your art. Healing a part of yourself through writing is also considered successful. It all depends on the person's goals. You didn't specify that until I said something. And you saying that following your plan guarantees success is also harmful. Marketing and the apps actually pushing out your content is required to reach an audience. Following a program does not guarantee that. And if you have a plan for that, then you left that information out. Again, if that's something you want to get across, then you need to work on your wording. And that's something that I've kind of said before is like, you can't make guarantees that like this is what's going to do it. You can't make guarantees like that because you can't promise that. You can't guarantee it. And I'm surprised that no one's sued her yet. But so then she replied to that and says, "Okay, I tried to be nice to you, but you're just being bitter. You may not like my advice, but it's true and based on nearly 20 decades of experience. You are literally the first and only author to get so upset and lecture me about my advice." Not really. "You don't have to like it or take it. I'm only trying to help, and I clarified it multiple times, and I'm very nice. You can't just say it and make something true. So I don't need to work on my wording. If this is how you reply when I extend an olive branch, trust me, you need much thicker skin if you want to make it in this industry.
You have a lot to learn about this town, sweetie.
You also completely misworded, again, literally everything I said, so it's not me, it's you. I tried to be nice, but some people are just miserable and will bitch about anything. So you go do what you think is going to help you. Now don't come crying back to me a year from now when you're still struggling and realize I am right. Because I won't be here to help, and that's your loss, not mine." I'm sorry. There's so many spelling and grammatical errors in here, and I know she's just like typing, but like, I would never. I mean, if you had someone that's supposed to be an editor send this to you, like, what? No. So, anyways, yeah. We've gone from 20 years of experience to 20 decades, so that's cool. Definitely someone I want editing my book. Like, she's actually insane. How can a person be so delusional? I truly do not understand. So here's some more lies. She writes, "Looking for a professional editor you can trust and afford? Shoot me a DM now. I'll send you my short, easy form to upload your first chapter for a free sample edit and quote today. Hurry, room for only one." This is so MLM coded. Like, spots are limited. You better sign up now because someone's going to take your spot. Like, that's not real. "I am looking for one indie author to fill my last open editing slot until August. Nearly 20 years of experience, hundreds of successful clients, affordable rates and payment plans, guaranteed turnaround times. Request a free same-day sample first chapter edit now." That was a sentence. So now she only has nearly 20 years experience. She just told us she had 200. And, she only has one spot until August, but she also can't pay her bills. Make up your mind what narrative you want to spin here, because this doesn't make sense. So someone correct me, but I don't get how she says marketing your book is free. I mean, sure, I guess you don't have to pay for any marketing, but you are going to sell more books if more people know about your book, and more people are going to know about your book if you put some money towards advertising and marketing. Also, it's just pretty rich of her to call literally anyone a scammer after knowing all that she's done. So, this next TikTok is in response to a comment that was left on a video of hers. And yes, I am digging deep in the archives at this point for her nonsense. Unfortunately, this was a few years back, and try as I might, I could not find like the original video with this comment on it. But, nevertheless, it's still relevant to how she reacts to criticism, despite this being a few years ago.
I take offense to this, and so I'm going to say this in as polite a way as I possibly can. I am not misleading anyone. I have been in the publishing industry for 15 years, both as an award-winning and best-selling author, also as an author coach and a book editor. And I worked for publishers, big and small, and I worked for literary agencies. I know what I'm talking about. There's a reason that I'm a well-trusted, popular, and well-liked author coach in the author community. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you feel the need to attack me, but I am not misleading anyone. In fact, I'm very honest and very open. I always say, speak the truth, but in love, which is what I'm doing right now with you. I'm telling you, sir, you are entitled to your opinions, but coming at me, attacking me and accusing me of misleading authors whom I adore and I'm part of the community myself, I highly resent, and it's wholly unfair. You are actually misleading authors by telling them that they need to wait until their 6th book to begin marketing. What kind of nonsense is that? Maybe you have some marketing experience, and I give you credit for whatever marketing experience you may have. Kudos to you. I appreciate that. But I don't believe that you have the level of experience behind the scenes working in publishing that I have, and I don't believe that you have authors' best interest at heart, especially when you're coming at me and throwing accusations left and right when I've done nothing to you, sir. I've not made any accusations at you. I don't know why you feel the need to come at me. So I respectfully agree to disagree with you, sir, and I wish you all the best luck in love, light, and happiness. It should also be said, I'm not an influencer or a marketer. I am an individual author coach. I work one-on-one with authors to help them write their best possible book, to successfully launch it. And I've done this with over 100 authors so far. Check my website for my credentials. And I help them kickstart successful author careers. Sir, how many author careers have you helped launch? How many successful books have you helped launch? That's all I want to know, okay? And let's just keep it positive, shall we? And lastly, I think your handle says it all. Grumpy writer. Try to cheer up a little bit. A little love, light, and happiness wouldn't hurt you any.
She has maybe the thinnest skin I've ever seen of a person that puts themselves out there like this. Like, what mature adults do in this situation is ask what exactly the person thinks that you're being misleading about, and then you respond to them with your reasoning of why you are not doing that. This is wild. I mean, that is a long video of her going on and on about this. Now, this next one was posted just yesterday as I'm recording this, and it is just full of contradictions.
Indie authors, be warned, what I'm about to tell you is going to really piss you off. Many of these so-called editors that are out there, they are taking authors' manuscripts and they're running them through Grammarly, letting it sit for a few weeks or months, then sending it back as if they spent all that time diligently editing their manuscript. Now just let that sink in for a minute. Real editing, the kind that improves your story and strengthens your voice, fixes plot holes, trims fluff, makes readers obsess over your books, that takes time, that takes skills, and that takes experience. Look here, hiring your roommate's cousin's best friend to be your editor because she is totally a major in English or literature, or hiring some rando freelancer on Fiverr who barely just learned English like yesterday to edit your entire manuscript for $50, that's exactly how you end up with bad reviews, low sales, and the end of a career that barely got started to begin with. Professional book editing is not an expense, so stop looking at it that way. It's actually an investment in you, your book, and your future career as an indie author. I have a completed, even rough draft manuscript. I have been editing professionally for 20 years. I've helped countless authors win awards, hit bestseller lists, and establish 5-figure, even 6-figure earning careers. Typically, I work off a 6 to 8 week wait list because I've been doing this so long. I had a client fall ill at the last minute and not meet her deadline, so I have to fill this one slot. So one really lucky author is going to get my editing at up to 40% off my already affordable fees. I keep my rates below all my competitors, and they're below those recommended by the Editorial Freelancers Association for 2025. But don't take my word for it. Instead, go to my link in bio and click the button that says free sample edit, and here's what's gonna happen. You will fill out a short form, and right there you can upload your first chapter, and within 24 hours, I will send it back to you with line edits completed, dev edits completed, and if I think we're a good match, you will also get an official proposal with the total fee calculation, a breakdown of how I got to that fee, package discounts, that up to 40% discount that I've already told you I'm going to give you, as well as the available 4 or 5 payment plan options that I have set up to make editing more manageable and affordable for authors like you. I'll also give you our guaranteed turnaround time for your project, which is never more than 6 weeks. Hurry up and hit that link. Do it fast because only one author gets this slot and at up to 40% off. And if you're serious about your book and your career publishing books, that should be you.
So again, she's both unable to pay her bills, but also in such high demand that she can only take one client. And usually she has a 6 to 8 week waiting list. It's just fucking bizarre that she posts this immediately after one where she's just desperately pleading for someone to hire her. Like, if you're watching this video and it ends, the next video is going to be the one of her begging and embarrassing herself. Like, she really lives on a different planet than the rest of us. So just a couple more quick things. I went over to Amazon and did like a preview of her most popular book. And I use the word popular loosely. It's all relative. I was able to read like the first chapter of this book, and it's called Presumed Dead. And even just with the first chapter, that was enough for me to find a few grammar mistakes. And in order to not come off as petty, I'm only highlighting the most obvious ones that I'm sure someone is going to still tell me I'm wrong about, but I'm just going to say it. So in this first one, she says, if there was one thing I loved about the South, it was their syrupy sweet tea. And she does not have the South capitalized, or South. And this is incorrect because when you are referring to a region as opposed to a direction, it should be capitalized. And she did not do that here. In this other example, she says, we rarely had to take a case to trial, as most people preferred to settle out of court. But this case, the McGuire case, was different. And for those of you that are only listening, she says this case, like ... the McGuire case, ... was different. And that should either be commas or em dashes. This is not how ellipses are used. I am not an editor, and I am not an author. I did not study English in college. I am literally just a person who reads a lot of books. And both of these instances are so clearly incorrect. And okay, in all fairness, I don't think that the writing was bad. It wasn't anything special, but it was fine. So there you go. So now, we all know how long she's been in the business. Say it with me. 20 years or, 20 decades because tomato, tomato. Yet her LinkedIn profile tells a different story. So the first thing she has on here is author coach Christina Kaye LLC, January 2020 to present. So that's the same as what she claims. Author Dark Skies Press LLC, June 2010 to present. Okay, she writes books. Author coach, freelance, June 2009 to December 2019. And editor, Limitless Publishing, July 2013 to July 2019. So this is at most 16 years. I just don't understand why she'd decide to change her story on LinkedIn. Like, if you're gonna lie about it, why not go all in with it? Like, really stick to that. So, lastly, before we end this, let's talk about my clickbait thumbnail and title. So, as I'm on her page, hate watching all of her TikToks, I accidentally clicked to follow her and I didn't even notice. So I end up getting an email later telling me that she started following me, and I was like, what? Oh my God, how does she know that I'm like lurking? So I click on TikTok, and what do you know? I followed her first. And I immediately unfollowed her, of course, but I feel like it might just be a matter of time now until she hears about my videos or watches them. So, whenever I get a fake cease and desist from her fake lawyer, I will be sure to, go back and brush up on my dramatic reading skills so we can do that one too. So I'm sorry this video, did not have much of anything new, just the same old stuff that she's always been doing. But hopefully the fact that there's like less stories and stuff coming out, that means that people are actually hearing about what a con artist she is and are steering clear of her. Additionally, I do keep up with her, hence my accidentally following her. And so, it's been a while. I just figured, why not do an update, even if it's just kind of the same old. So, of course, I'm going to be closing out this video with my indie author spotlight. And today I am featuring Holly Rose, a UK based author of sports romance, specifically Formula One racing, which is so cool. She is also a book talker, booktuber, and bookstagrammer. She tried writing in several different genres before finding one that she fell in love with and coming up, this story that she just needed to tell. So, her debut novel is called The Rivals, and it's about a female driver who finally gets an opportunity to drive an F1, but it's a male dominated sport and it's going to be hard to beat these guys, and it's a rivals to lovers storyline. I think this will be really fun, and I also think that the F1 setting is so much different than most sports romances, so sounds perfect if you want something unique. My husband, he had an F1 phase, so I know only some parts of it, but it seems like this would be really cool just to do something a little different with sports romance. So, down in the description is a link to Holly's social media and website, along with where you can purchase her book if this sounds like something you would enjoy. Don't forget, indie authors are a vital part of the bookish community, so make sure to show your support wherever you can, even if that just means a follow on social media. If you would like to be featured on my indie author spotlight, I do have a form linked down in the description. And if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more just like it, make sure you're subscribed. I do also have a Patreon if you are interested in supporting me over there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!